Back now to our breaking news. Starting next month, you will get to watch Nuggets and Avalanche games right here on KTVD.
Now, this is huge news for Colorado sports fans. And this morning, we have Kevin Demoff, the president of team and media operations at Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning. What a morning to be with you guys.
Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you making the time. First of all, let's just talk with how you're feeling about this deal.
Excited. I mean, it has been a huge path to get Nuggets and Avalanche games back on air for all of our fans in Denver. And what better way to do it than with our best partner for nearly a quarter of a century and the best station in Denver. So we can't wait to get rolling.
We are so excited. I know fans are so excited. You were saying this was priority number one for you, right?
Yeah, I got hired to do this job in March, and the first thing, on my X feed and everywhere else in the press conference, when can we start watching games? And obviously it's been 5 years, where we've had challenges getting all of our games on altitude on the market and making sure we could deliver for our fans, our players, our coaches, our staff, so that everybody in Denver and the surrounding DMAs can watch, the NBA MVP,
yeah,
the NHL MVP,
yeah.
And two really good teams that are contending for championships was an absolute priority if you want to deliver for your fans.
It's been the biggest demand from sports fans for the past several years. For anybody that kind of missed the announcement at the top of the hour, walk us through how this deal works, what people are going to get.
Yeah, so we'll start with, Channel 9, Channel 20, which is a game of the week essentially for each of the Avalanche and the Nuggets. So 20 games for the Avalanche, 20 games for the Nuggets. Essentially, that's one game a week during the season here on Channel 9 and on Channel 20. And then we also are launching Altitude Plus today, which is a streaming product which will mimic what we show on Altitude for anybody who lives in Denver, the surrounding states. They can download Altitude Plus and watch all of the games, no matter their broadband provider, no matter their streaming provider, or if they just want to watch the games and they're cord cutters, we're glad to have you.
Talk about true heartbreak for fans, especially the last couple years, right? We have our championship teams, and all we've wanted to do is watch them. So now this comes full circle where the fans can actually get involved again and watch it live. That's got to be such a big deal for everyone.
Yeah, and this was a clear priority for ownership when we talked about reconnecting with the fan base and making sure we erase some of that heartache from the past. There's nothing you can do to go back in the past. But obviously now, when these teams win titles again, and they will win titles again, our fans will be able to watch them right here on Channel 9 and on Altitude Plus and on Altitude.
Now, of course, other people want us to ask, what about some of the returning champions that we're going to get to see here? What are we expecting for this upcoming season?
Well, it's been exciting. The Avalanche have been down on the ice for training camp and kicked off their preseason on Monday night at Ball Arena, and it's always great when you walk in the building, you see Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen getting ready to go, and a lot of the young guys, too, that we're going to count on. I think both teams, the Nuggets have Media Day today, which we'll see, I'm sure, your crew down at, certainly for sure now, and then they start training camp tomorrow before going to Abu Dhabi next week to play the Boston Celtics down in Abu Dhabi for 2 games. But, when you get Nikola back, exciting Jamal Murray extension, really the core of that team still together. I mean, you have 2 teams. I was looking at, odds yesterday just, to win the title, and both teams are, in the top 5, among the top on the Western Conference. So it's that kind of energy that gets you excited as you head into October.
You're not busy at all today, are you?
Not at all, but, it starts off with what a great way to wake up, and spend the morning with you guys. I'm not as exciting as Bernie, or Rocky. They get to have a little bit more fun, but, I'm smiling and excited too.
Yeah. You were talking about, obviously, MacKinnon and Makar, but also the news of Gabe Landeskog as well, possibly being back out there this season. I mean, that's big news for fans too.
I think it's huge. And I think you always want to make sure that you're cautious until Gabe is on the ice for games.
Yeah.
But he's made such amazing progress this offseason. I know he played in the BMW Championship with Josh Kroenke, our vice chair, and they were talking about getting back. So our goal is hopefully to get him back on the ice at some point. Hopefully he'll debut maybe here on, Channel 9. And that is a possibility now, right? That we
don't tease us.
That we can put that on there. We'll circle that, we'll let the trainers and the medical staff know that, hey, here are the possible dates, that you could come back. But I think, it's an exciting time for both teams as they both grow these amazing stars that we have. And you look at this era of 2 MVPs, for the first time in a city in nearly 40 years.
Wow.
In the NBA and NHL, while still getting back a player like Gabe, while still growing some of our younger players, on the Nuggets, like a Christian Brown or a Peyton Watson some Julian Strother. Like, it's a great balance of old and new with these teams, and it's a great balance of old and new with altitude and Channel 9.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, I got to ask you another one important question. How do you feel about today being 91 degrees?
You know,
With the ice.
it is a little bit warm, I will say, and most of my Avs and Nuggets gear is a little bit more cold weather, you know, as you can tell today. So I may have to flip on a polo shirt for media day later today. But you know, sounds pretty good for the end of September.
Well, Kevin, I'm going to tell you who you can blame. You can blame Chris Bianchi for this weather today.